Hey, people, this is the time. I mean, we are legitimately worth a shit this year.
Oh, yeah. Let me make sure I get this right. There you go, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, outsiders of all ages. It is Wednesday. Get yourself a beverage. It's time for the outsiders. One of our outsiders is on a little bit of a vacation. We wish Bo Edge and his lovely wife all the best on their Mexican vacation. We'll tell you about the company that hooked them up with it. And I actually don't know if they hooked him up with anything. They probably made him pay and everything, but they got him an incredible deal. We'll tell you about them coming up. We've got 3 of the 4 outsiders in. As you can tell, I'm in a slightly different location. I am in what Jeff Ketchum calls Indiana Jones's background. I'm hanging with Doc and Sylvia Hastings, and Doc Hastings has a beverage, and he's ready to talk a little bit later. So we'll get to all of that. But let's remind you that it is the Outsiders, brought to you by Poncho. And unfortunately, Jason Dick, this is how every QR code has to be expressed now. We can't have
look, I've got it. I've got it going right now.
There you go. You're good. Listen, we'll have it blink. Poncho shirt, Poncho QR, Poncho shirt, Poncho. See, that's how it works. That is how it works. And gentlemen, just so you know, we did a new picture for you since we are together. Here you go. Tucked in, tucked out, hat, no hat, whatever you need. There you have it. There's the Hastings boys in their poncho shirt, ready to rock and roll. All right, whatever you need. So we'll get you the live version of that. Actually, he's not wearing a poncho shirt tonight. He might be wearing something maroon. I'll just warn everybody right now. All right, so we got that going on. Let's introduce the outsiders.
We're going to grind our gears because I just thought about it, because Doc Hastings, the smart man he is, was he wearing the Kyle? Is that the one he was wearing?
Is it the Kyle or the Brian? Is the long sleeve?
Yeah, one of them the long sleeve.
Yeah.
But you're in navy blue. And I've got to say, when you make an appearance at the College World Series and you are the fighting Texas A&M Aggies, you show up and wear white, red, and blue like you're America. Like, you get your first game at the College World Series and you show up and you don't even wear maroon. Like,
you know what, Chance, I would be on a rant right now if they hadn't won the ball game. At least they won that damn game. But I was with you. I wasn't thrilled with it either. We were looking for shreds of maroon. I couldn't understand that either. I didn't love that one. All right, that is Chance Mock in our upper left as always. Mock 5, what are you drinking tonight?
Oh, I'm sticking with my normal. I'm supporting my guys this week and did a great job at the Cole Pittman tournament out at River Place Country Club right there in Austin. Honoring our buddy Cole Pittman and tee it up for Cole Peak Golf Tournament. So BJ and Roy, I got a little bit of their MVP vodka. You can pick it up at Specs or pretty much all of your local dealers. But anyway, MVP vodka, a little water, a little lime juice, good to go.
Nothing wrong with that. And look at that. Somebody just gives him a big chance with exclamation points. Thank you, Longhorn Football Edits. We're getting some what's up, fellas. And yes, Morgan wants some bear dick. That's later on in the show. It'll be on the way. Speaking of that, Jason Dick, we have no country gorilla tonight. You have to carry extra weight. What are you drinking?
Well, first of all, I just want to say, can you guys hear me? If you cannot, Chad, you just cut me off, delete me, send me to hell anytime that you want, because I am living out in the country and my internet is powered by an enslaved squirrel that I have on the roof that's spinning a wheel on a tiny satellite dish, and it's raining desperately here. And so I can barely hear you guys, but if you can hear me, I'm excited to tell you, I missed last week. And so I felt like I owed it to you guys. I wanted to crank up the energy. And so, normally the Diet Mountain Dew does me good. But today I have a Diet Mountain Dew Voltage. Okay.
Oh, dear God. Dear God.
A Voltage. All right.
You're the only person I know. You're the only adult I know that can find a drink with the word voltage in it.
Yeah.
Charged
with raspberry, citrus flavor, and ginseng, which I don't know what that is, but I know it's healthy. So
all right.
So I should have one every day, right? Let's go.
Let's do it. Take a poll. Let us know. Oh, I like that. The grainy Jason Dick taking a drink of voltage. What do you got? How is it?
Excellent. I'm gonna be fine.
You know what? All I could think about
kerosene. That's fantastic.
all I could think about was the scene in Dumb and Dumber where he gets pulled over. He's like, pull over. He's like, no, it's a cardigan, but thanks for asking.
Exactly. Tonight, gentlemen, I am going with one of my father's for the beer collection. I'm going with what we call the Ugly Monk. It is a Francis Kahner. It is a Weiss beer, a German beer. It's very good. A little wheat beer for the kids. All right, we got the Outsiders. We are underway. Let's see. What do we have? You know what? Scotty B. Look at Scotty B adding to the drinking discussion. Chad, did you ever try that 1878 beer from Cisco, Texas? I did, Scotty B. I did. I believe that is a Red Gap Brewing product, and it is fantastic. Thank you. I did. All right. So, and Larry says ginseng is great stuff. So there we have it. Also, Morgan wants to say hello to one of the unsung heroes of the show. That would be Chance's ceiling fan. Let's get you a close-up of Chance's ceiling fan. See it back there? See it hiding back there between his old helmet and his State of Texas award? There you go. That's it right there. Beautiful stuff. Thank you for jumping in, Morgan. We appreciate you, and we will get you that other thing you were looking for a little later on. All right, I think we got everything out of the way. Oh, except this. Good call. They even found a different font and everything. Football Edit says hit that like button. We would appreciate it if you did that. All right, so Chance Mock, I think we need to start out with a concert review. I did not realize until you sent us pictures and reaction that you were a part of the throng, the massive people that went to Kyle Field to see George Strait in concert. So
Traitor.
Traitor to what? Good music? I mean, traitor to bad music? You want to see George Strait? What are you talking about? Let's look at these pictures, Jason. There's no traitor. Look at this. Would you look at what they were doing at my stadium the other night? Rocking with George Strait. There's that one. Now, here's the one we put on the thumbnail, which I think, Chance, this says it all. Look at that cowboy hat in the front.
Oh,
I mean, that's perfect. How many cowboy hats did you see, Chance? Estimate for me.
I mean, I counted about, if there was 110,905 people, I think there was 96,212 cowboy hats.
That was fantastic.
Well, hold on. I didn't count George's. It was 96,213 cowboy hats that I saw. Look, first of all, I got to tip. Speaking of hats, I got to tip my hat to the Ags. They put on a phenomenal event. Now, granted, I saw some stories on the news about the traffic getting to and from, because we all know College Station's in the middle of nowhere. There's no actual good way to get there. So when you've got 110,000, coming to this stadium to watch a concert, and you've got basically one highway in and out, it doesn't create a good spot. But Lizzie Grace hooked us up. Mm-hmm. Her father lives there. And so we went to a nice dinner beforehand. He dropped us off right outside of what's the name of that street there?
Right on Welborn?
Welborn.
Johnny Manziel Road?
Not Johnny Manziel Road yet. That'll be later. I was
gonna call the road Wegman because I thought it sounded like that, but I knew that was
Connor Wigman Drive. Trust me, that's not happening. That's a long way from happening right now.
No, but I went there, and I've got to say, number one, the people of College Station and of A&M in general did a phenomenal job. Getting in and out of the concert was great. It was awesome. The lines kept moving, and the show was phenomenal. George played till 12:30 in the morning.
Wow.
12:30.
He's an old man. That's pretty good.
He's 72 years old, and he played 5 that I counted new songs that are coming out, a CD that's being released in August. So 72, he's putting out, and they were all good. That's the scary part. They were all good. So Parker McCollum, a local guy from down here, he hails from Conroe, Texas. Actually spent some time at the Woodlands College Park High School, but really neat to see that kid open up, and he's phenomenal. But to me and Jason, you've been to a million concerts. It's so nice for me to see people just stand on stage and play, and the entire 110,000 people singing along with them, and they don't need, to come up from the bottom of the stage or come flying in from a rope or have lasers or light shows. It's just the music itself speaks for itself, and it was 110,000 people having a great time. It was phenomenal. So hats off. Did it really, really right.
All right. So yeah, let me get one more image that Chance sent that I love. This is probably my favorite picture of the whole thing. I mean, look at that, boys. That is incredible. By the way, Chance Mott, give me a feel on, I saw that the folks were wearing the light wristbands. We had that at the Taylor Swift show when I took my daughter to see Taylor, and I thought those lights were amazing. How was it? Is that your first time to be wearing those wristbands?
It was, and I didn't know what it was. So initially we're walking in, and they handed me one, and I was like, I'm good. And they're like, no, you got to have it. And I was like, well, no, I don't. I don't need it. And they're like, no, it's for the light show. I was like, well, okay, well, I want to be part of the light show. Why not? Yeah. And then the lights go down, and I mean, the whole time it's lighting up. And I sent y'all a video of, they were singing Lefty and Poncho. It was awesome. But the lights, it was a mild part of the entertainment, because you always look down to your wrist to see which part of it you were. Were you a blue light? Were you a red light? White light? It kept clicking on and off, and it was a lot of fun. It was. I got to tell you, for a Father's Day weekend, it was incredible. My weekend was topped off because I got home just in time to watch my son play on Sunday, and he was on deck when I came walking up. I said, "Hey, kid, how about you hook your dad up with a hit for Father's Day?" And he did. He hooked me up with a stand-up double, so I was like, "All right, we're good." My Father's Day, I got to see Parker McCullum. I got to have a smoking hot date. I got to have a delicious dinner. My son hit a double. I got to see George Strait. I got to be part of the largest paid outdoor concert in the history of North America. It's pretty damn cool.
That's a good deal. That is a good deal. Yeah, I was here outside working with my dad. He sent me up on the roof to cut tree limbs while you were watching George Strait. So it's just, some people, we had different weekends, but that's great. I'm glad that you enjoyed yourself. My question to you, Chance, was, I was thinking, okay, man, Chance was at Kyle Field. One of the things that I'm interested in for November is those Longhorns that haven't been to Kyle Field in a while. And of course, we'll get to the Aggies that haven't been to DKR next year. So when was the last time? When was the last time you had walked into Kyle Field and been a part of, anything there? The very last time was in 2004 when we played there. So I haven't been back since playing. And I'm going to say it was very, very weird. Number one, again, I have no problem tipping my hat when people do a good job. Texas A&M University has done a phenomenal job, and I think you can attribute a lot of it to Johnny Manziel. But they have really beefed up that campus. They have the exteriors they have redone on a lot of the buildings. The campus looks wonderful. The tunnel that goes under Welborn that makes it easier to park and get over to the game is absolutely awesome. But I will say it's weird, Chad, because when it was just the east and west sides and the zone, the stadium seemed huge. Now that they've enclosed it, it's almost like it makes the stadium seem smaller, even though it's massively bigger.
But that's good. That's good.
It takes away perspective, right? It's weird because when the zone was just the zone, like you're looking up at this massive thing there. And so when I first walked into the stadium, I thought it looks a lot smaller than I remember it, which is now it looks phenomenal. They've done a great job. The renovations are incredible. Hat tip. I still think Texas feels bigger. And part of that is because I spent a good amount of time, because this is how my mind works. I spent a good amount of time like just looking at the stadium, enjoying it. I was watching the light show, but I was trying to analyze why did it feel smaller. And I think it's interesting because Texas has two massive decks, right? Like it's huge. It goes out and it goes up. Well, A&M's got the three decks, but they don't go nearly as far back. They're smaller three decks. Obviously, the stadium holds 100,000+ people. It's a huge stadium, but the feel of it is not as big. So I will say I called Brock Edwards after the concert, and I said, because it was actually his last game was the game we played there, his last regular season game.
Yeah.
I said, dude, you would not believe what Kyle Field looks like right now.
By the way, Chance, our man Chris Bennett is calling you out on the date. He's saying it's 03 because 04 would have been Austin. 03 was your last one in College Station?
Yeah, it would have been. That's what I'm saying. It was Brock Edwards' last game. So that
Gotcha.
he was a senior my redshirt junior year. So that was 03. That's correct.
Gotcha. Okay.
Before we played in Austin, because A&M was my senior game.
Yeah.
But anyway, regardless, and I told him, I said, you wouldn't believe it because it's completely different. I shit you not. What he said was, he goes, I don't give a damn. It's still A&M. Fair enough. Fair enough. I'm trying to give the Aggies some credit. But, it brought on a really interesting conversation, Chad, and one that I kind of teased you with earlier is I'm sitting there watching this, and I think I texted you guys. I said, Texas has already lost because Texas has Ryan Bingham and Brooks and Dunn coming to play at DKR. No offense, it's going to be hard to top George Strait. Mm-hmm. I don't care who's, the opening act. It's going to be hard to top. Ryan Bingham, I don't think, is anywhere near as big as what Parker McCollum is right now. And in the state of Texas, no offense, George is the king. So my initial thought was, God, Texas already lost the battle of the stadium concerts, and Texas hadn't even had theirs yet, and they've already lost. But then I started thinking about it, and I went, well, okay, they raised money. Texas is going to raise money, but how much is it just a fan flex? Just to go, hey, we're A&M, we feel – but how many athletes, how many 5-stars are looking and going, oh, man, I really got to look at A&M because they were able to – so I had to put it back into perspective because when you were there – it was really, really neat. And outside the money, I don't think it moves the needle on anything other than giving Aggies an opportunity to which they should yell, gig them, and whoop and all that stuff because it was a great weekend and they did a nice job. And I'm one of those that firmly believes in, you know what, tip your hat when you see something good, and they did a great job.
Yeah, and it's also, I mean, Jason, I go to a lot of concerts, but 110,905 in the continental United States, like I don't know how many places have pulled that off. I'm not sure how many, maybe, Central Park stuff back in the day, Simon and Garfunkel or Garth or whatever in Central Park, those used to get over 100,000 pretty regularly. Jerry's, Jerry World when they really pack it in, but 110,000, that number stood out to me. I'd never, with all due respect to the king, if you'd have told me 110,000 people were going to show up to watch George Strait in 2024, I'd have been a little surprised. I was impressed.
Okay, well, 8 things. First of all, Team Garth for life.
No.
Though I love George Strait. I love the King. I've seen him. I believe after you texted today, I believe I've seen him 6 times, including the last time. I bought a last-minute StubHub ticket on Vegas and sat close up with these 3 old ladies who I guess I have no idea how they figured out how to put their ticket on StubHub, but one of their old ladies dropped out, and I was like, yeah, I'm happy to be here with you guys. That's awesome. Look, I used to say this about Stubbs, where I've seen 100 great shows, 200 great shows. The capacity there is 2,200. But the problem is there's not 2,200 good places to watch the show from. Okay, so it's a weird, thing to do. And there's no venue in the world where there are 100,000 good places to watch the show from. I'm sure the vibe was awesome and great, but so many of those people, I'm just like, you could watch that again later on YouTube, probably. Wow. Moreover, why does this matter? Like, why does it matter for college football? Why does it? I don't know that it matters at all. I mean, I know you were kind of alluding to that, Chance. Why? Okay. Yeah. Texas A&M already had all the money. Okay. Texas already has all the money. So what? I mean, what does it matter?
I think it matters. This is where I will say it matters. And they're playing in Omaha right now at TD Ameritrade. Is I think any extra revenue, because football is going to get served. Football is going to get their money. Any opportunity that these universities have to generate more revenue that could possibly be going to some of these other sports. And because, look, let's be honest, Braden Montgomery didn't transfer to Texas A&M because he just wanted to be an Aggie. Okay, there's reasons why he came to A&M, and it was a great move. And I hated to see him get injured. I think that absolutely sucks. But that's where I think it's putting more money in the coffers, and Texas is going to do the same thing. And that's going back to what you just said, Jason. That was my thing. Is when I was in the concert, I was thinking like, there's no way Texas can match this just because of who's playing. It's not necessarily the venue. It's just because of who's playing, right? And then, like I said, I got to a point I was like, but what does it matter? Like, it doesn't – I had to back myself up a little bit because I was on the Texas fan going, what do we got to do to beat this? How do we beat this? Because we can't beat this because no offense, Brooks and Dunn, but in the state of Texas, you're not George Strait. And then I was like, it doesn't move the needle on anything for anybody. There may be some lineman that lives in East Texas that goes, oh, shit, I was going to go to LSU, and now A&M can put on a concert with George Strait. I'm in. But other than that, it doesn't move the needle. But it was a neat experience. And I would argue this, Jason, in the way that it's set up. That stadium is set up for you to have a view of the field, right? People go to see the field. And the way that the stadium was set up, it was much like they do at the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo with the rotating stage and everything else. They had the different video boards all up. I'm not sure that there was a bad seat in the house. At one point, because I'm one of those, I'm adamant, do not cross over people in the middle of concerts. Like when everybody's standing up and I can just sneak by, that's one thing. But Jason, you like me are not a small individual. So when I have to crawl over people, I feel like I'm impeding their view and I'm bothering them. So I just don't like doing it. So at one point we got up because they did have frozen margaritas. Much props to them for that. So I needed a frozen, and I stood at the top and, waited to come back down and watched a couple songs so that I wasn't crossing back over. And even standing at the top had a great view. So that's where the stadium is different. And I will say this, the open air actually sounded significantly better than anything that happens at the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. I was there for Cody Johnson when he sold out the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo, which was cool because he was the first unsigned, no label guy to ever do that. But NRG sucks. The roof, it echoes inside of there and the sound bounces from side to side. So you're catching like his actual song and then you're catching the reverb. But being the fact that it's an open air stadium made the sound significantly better.
Very cool. We'll continue to talk about that. Good chats coming in too on the Specs chat. Also, you notice you don't see Bo tonight. Let's give the place responsible for it a little bit of love. That is Engage Vacations. That's right. Engage Vacations. Let me see if I can do this. There we go. Whoa, there you go. Engage Vacations. You can just get the QR code right there. There it is. And you can do what Bo did. Go to Mexico for a special getaway. Let them handle all the details. That's the hassle of putting a vacation together. That's why I'm glad I've got my wife around to put that stuff together. But this is what Engage Vacations will do for you. They put it all together, all the little details from start to finish. Bo's on one of those trips right now, and we appreciate Engage Vacations for being a great partner of ours here at The Outsiders. We appreciate all of y'all in the chat as well. Got a lot of good folks in the chat tonight. Let me see if we can clean up some of this stuff, gentlemen. Let's see. First off, this is a good comment from Scotty B. 156,990. Somebody asked about how many people they got in. Remember, guys, when they went to the NASCAR stadium for college football, when Tennessee played Virginia Tech? Yep. They got over 156,000 people in for a football game. That's pretty cool. But like I said, in terms of a concert in the United States, not many get off there. Insider Ag with a good comment. Could have been part of the Jimbo payoff campaign. Yes. I actually don't know. This is a good point from Chad. Wasn't a fundraising concert though, right? How much of the gate actually goes to A&M? That I'm guessing, Chance, if George Strait shows up to Kyle Field, he doesn't just give all that money to the Aggie athletic department.
Well, no, but let's keep this in mind. I don't know how much George Strait charges. I do know this because I've got friends that book concerts. I know that at one time Clint Black was around 25 to 30,000 a show. I know that Cody Jinks, who's my numero uno, he's about 200,000 to do a show. So let's just, if we're going to extrapolate that, let's say that George he's going to cost you 750,000 to show up, right?
Mhm.
Then you got the cost of
All right.
everything, but you've got to.
I guarantee you that George Strait playing for 100,000 people gets paid $2 million.
Okay,
I guarantee it.
Then put it at 2 million. Say it's at 2 million. I know for a fact that people sitting in our row were paying $600 a ticket.
Oof.
You extrapolate that out, and let's say the average ticket price was 300 times 100,000 people.
Yeah.
I mean, it gets up there.
Yeah, that's true. Good point. Thanks for
it's probably more of a marketing thing. Okay. Like the Brooks and Dunn thing was a private thing for, up to dues. And this thing, I think, is like a big marketing thing for Texas A&M. If you're going to market as a win for them at all, because I'm still like, what's the big deal? It was a concert at a place.
Well, here's the weird follow-up that you just reminded me of, Jason. So Chance, the Brooks and Dunn concert, has it already happened or is it going to happen?
No, this is what I'm talking about.
Like,
no,
I just don't recall.
It already happened. It was a private event. Okay. It was a private event for like big donors and fancy people to go and bid on silent auction items and that sort of thing. And so, it was not a thing that was really even supposed to be on people's radar.
But like Chance, I had never thought of it the way you're thinking about it. So are you arguing that any event of that nature that occurs inside the stadiums, it sort of becomes part of the house divided rivalry? Like, even though it's concerts, like it becomes a Longhorn Aggie sort of revenue raising thing or an attention getting contest?
Absolutely. Okay. I'm a Texas fan, and I'm telling you right now, I had a phenomenal. I could not have had a better Father's Day weekend. I enjoyed every minute of it. And I'm telling you right now, there was a huge part of me that was pissed off about it because all those beautiful pictures that I sent you, which are phenomenal, which I'm getting because I do think it's extremely cool that there was 110,000 people. So I'm getting it made into a frame deal with some of the pictures, that being one of them. And there's a giant A&M on the billboards. I'm you see it, right? And, and it's like, I wanted that to be DKR. Damn it.
Okay. I see.
First of all those pictures, AI. Okay, I promise.
Jason, what are you saying? There was only 12,000 people there?
But no, and look, your point, Chance, about the stadium and how it sounds and how it's built is very good in that, like once you enclose the whole thing and you make it like if you have a skinnier version than what DKR is, it gets nuts in there. And I don't think any of us would argue that DKR is a place that like really gets nuts all the time. Certainly not every weekend. But look, if it's a contest of who's going to have more cool events in their town, College Station versus Austin, like you got like 100 years to make up, Aggies. Okay. You got a long way of getting back to even.
You see what you started, Chance Mock? Aggies just trying to bring George Strait to town. Now you got Jason Dick having a College Station versus Austin music discussion. What chance does College Station have in that one? Come on.
We're the live music capital of the world. Like that's the thing
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
But I think it's kind of funny because as much fun as we had, and Jason's right, like. But as a Texas fan, I'm sitting there. I want to beat the Aggies. It was interesting. I saw a deal. Let me propose this to you. I know this is derailing, but this is what we do on the Outsiders. So I saw a deal today on Twitter, and it wasn't. It may have been on 3. I can't remember who did it, but I screenshotted it, and it had the prediction for Texas for 2024, and it really, really perplexed me. Because it had Texas at 11-1, winning the SEC, with the only loss coming to A&M.
Wow. Okay.
So that okay. So then it put me in a weird spot. I'm going, okay, If Texas goes into the SEC, wins the SEC year one, they're 11-1. Obviously, they're in the playoffs if that's the case. Clearly a wonderful season. But the one loss coming to A&M, like, I don't know how I feel about that whole, like, Jason, if that played out next year, that means we beat Oklahoma, we beat Georgia, we go into Arkansas and beat Arkansas. You get all those, and you're in the playoffs, and you win the SEC, but your one loss comes to A&M. Like, where do you sit on that?
I would be upset about it for a couple of hours. Okay, I'm having a real tough time, like, getting reinvigorated about the rivalry. I wanted to beat them 2 weeks ago in baseball, and I want to beat them the weekend after Thanksgiving. But honestly, I don't really think about them that often. Okay, I think about how much I hate Oklahoma all the time. And so I don't know. Maybe once we're playing every year again, it will start up. But if you're telling me right now that Texas goes 11-1 and wins the SEC, I would say deal. Let's go. All right.
Chance, for the record, you said Cody Jenks is your favorite guy right now.
Oh yeah.
If Cody Jenks played for 180,000 people in Oklahoma's stadium, how would you feel?
I'd be there.
Yeah, but how would you feel? How would you feel walking out?
He wouldn't do that. He's a Texas boy. He wouldn't do that.
Would it hurt you?
We're not going there. I don't want to. This is not what I want on my.
You've been exploring feelings. I just didn't know if you had any other feelings you'd want to explore, but okay, fair enough.
Feelings, because my heart would be so hurt.
That'd be a whole nother deal right there. Thanks to everybody jumping in the Specs chat. Almost 350 folks in there. We do have a special guest coming up, but before we get to that, Chance Mock, why don't you tell the folks about Arch Public and what it might be able to do for the people?
Look, Arch Public, it's a great group. Tillman Holloway, he's been on the show. Him and his buddy Andrew Parrish, they started Arch Public, and the main driver behind it was using algorithms and the AI technology and bots that are there today to shift the market's favorability into yours. It doesn't mean that everything's going to happen, seamlessly and you're going to win every trade, but they've been able to shift it to where 64% of their trades, they win. It's a great option, and they wanted to return that opportunity. All the big brokerage houses, they all use the technology. What Arch Public does is it puts it in the retail investor's hand. So, I look at what I've been able to do with them over the last 6 months, and I'm just telling you what's happened. I can't tell you what's going to happen. I'll never tell anybody what to do with their money. All I can tell you is that I trust them. We've been getting 8 to 12% return on our money on a monthly basis in the last 6 months that I've been with them. And that in itself is worth at least a phone call and giving it a try. Their products start as low as $99 a month. If you've got $10,000 that you want to invest, it's your money. They take no control over it. You have your own brokerage account. Everything is in there. And they're just trading on the gap strategy, which means you're in the morning and you're out. The money is back in your account. So you're not riding the market. That's one thing that we hear all the time is, I don't trust the market. It's an election year. Well, don't worry about it. Let the guys at Arch Public at least have a conversation with them. If it's something that you've been thinking about, if you're looking to grow your money, because right now, look, we all know what the economy is. We all know how expensive food has gotten, gas, everything, just the price of living. You've got to find a way to grow your money just to keep up with the rate of inflation. Arch Public will give you an opportunity to do that. I'm not a financial advisor, not in any way, shape, form, or fashion telling you what you should do, but I am telling you, you should have a phone call with them and make a decision that's right for you and your family. Arch Public, those guys are phenomenal. It's something that I use. I do it with them, and I have had enormous success with it, and I would highly suggest you give it a chance yourself.
All right, there you have it. As you can tell, As you can tell, a strange cowboy might be in the picture. We'll tell you about him. But first, it's brought to you by Last Stand Hats, the True Fans brand. We got 12 different kinds of Outsiders hats. This cowboy hat is not one of those hats. You cannot order that at Last Stand Hats. I'm not sure where you could get that hat. That's going to be his. Thanks to Last Stand Hats. Outsiders 10 is your code. the legendary Doc Hastings, is sitting next to me. If anybody wonders what I'll be looking at in the mirror in about, I don't know, 40 years, it's that. That's pretty much right there. That's going to be
40
me.
years.
I don't know what it 50. I can't do the math. Doc Hastings, what are you drinking tonight?
Gentlemen, good to see everyone. I am drinking tonight a Smithwick's Red Ale, Irish Red Ale that I ran across. I'm a Killian's Irish Red fan, and this comes to being up there with it. It's really good, but 4.5%. But it's brewed in Dublin, Ireland, and it's part of the Guinness organization. So Smithwick's Red Ale.
Yes, longest explanation for a drink ever. He is a beer snob.
I am a beer snob.
Cheers
I'm
to
sorry.
that Aggie baseball team. They're up 5-0, trying to get to the championship series, kids. All right, Jason Dick, you are legendary in many ways, but one of the main ways you are legendary is that you ask the greatest questions that really mankind has ever seen. We're all willing to let you be the one to ask Doc Hastings a question. What comes to mind?
Good evening, Mr. Hastings. I got to say, first of all, that I was not at all ready for you to be so well-spoken. I don't want to stereotype anybody, but I was like, oh, this guy's going to have a hell of a hillbilly accent. And then you just came in here and did not do that. I would say knowing the ABV of your beer is like the least Aggie thing I've ever heard. Okay. That is
Okay.
That was very impressive.
Well, I think I appreciate that. I think.
He said he appreciates it. He thinks.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No. Look, it's my connection. All right.
Oh, that's right. That's true. He's freezing. There's rain in Manor and all that. I thought you were setting up for a dramatic question. That's why I was waiting.
Well, this is what I wanted to ask you, sir. Is we've talked a lot about country music on the show tonight, and there's a pretty famous song that says, "Mamas, don't let your babies grow up to be radio guys." So what did you think when Chad was like, "Oh, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be a sports talk radio guy"?
Honestly, I was not surprised. His mother is sitting nearby. She will verify what I just said. We often think that Chad was born talking. He was a kid who didn't go through a babbling stage at all. He just came out and started talking, and then what he usually talked about was sports. So to answer your question simply, I was not surprised. I once thought he was going to go to TV, but then he found he said that radio he liked better, and I believe him. He really does enjoy it. Chad is an example. In fact, I use it in my classes, and I say, everybody needs to have a job like Chad has. He's paid some money, maybe not a lot, but he's paid money to do what he would do anyway, talk about sports. So I think he's one of the luckiest guys in the world, personally.
So hold on to piggyback that, because I got to know, because these are the things that make me excited. You got a chance to see your son continue, and he goes into radio. He's been doing it for a long time. But as a dad, when your kid gets inducted in the Waxahachie Hall of Fame, I mean, as a parent, we all thought it was pretty damn cool. We all know how good Chad is, and he's good not just because he's very smart and good on his feet, but he puts a hell of a lot of work into what he does. People don't realize how much time Chad spends researching, and he really does work hard to hone his craft. But so as a parent, to be able to see your child and watch him as he goes through, and the struggles y'all had trying to potty train him, because he still has issues with that, to finally make it.
I tell you things in confidence. You said you could keep things because you were a good teammate. What are you doing, Mach 5?
Vodka. It was the MVP vodka.
Oh my God.
He's blaming it on the vodka.
I'm working on it. Okay. It's a daily struggle.
But yeah, but Doc, tell me how it felt as a parent when you got that phone call that, hey, my son, anytime you see your kid have success, but that really is a phenomenal achievement.
It was and I agree. I really was informed about the possibility of his winning it a few weeks before, and I got to thinking about it. Wow, that's pretty special in a place where your athletes are going to be usually the ones who are going to be honored and so, but to have him honored in an area that involves sports broadcasting. Something
fine arts is what they call it.
Fine arts. Oh yeah, it's fine arts. Fine arts. Yes, fine arts.
Yeah, average.
And he really, I thought deserved it when they called me up and said, "Hey, give us some information, help us out here," and they said to me, "Hey, we think he really deserves it." And of course I'm his dad, but I had to say I really agree. He told me years before he's gotten on the radio that he enjoys talking to people and making them think. And of course that's somebody after my own heart. That's what I do as a teacher. But yet the fact that he uses sports as his vehicle of talking to people, getting them thinking, getting them to enjoy moral life or whatever his goal is in the back of his head is to me, I think, very special. And his mom and I are very proud of him.
So to make sure that everybody really gets the cry in that they need to get in, just for the record, remind everybody that when I was getting this Hall of Fame award, where were you and Mom at that moment? Remind everybody.
Let's see. Something about wait, a football game, I think. Yeah.
You were getting ready to watch A&M play Alabama. Isn't that
That's
true?
right.
Yes, that's true. That is true.
Yeah.
And I told him
shows you what it meant to us.
Hey, I told him to. I knew what was more important that day because the whole Hall of Fame ceremony, it was kind of like that, and the A&M Bama game takes a while. So.
That's true. We were. But we were there in spirit, right? We
there
were
you
there.
go.
We
Oh, look at this. Look at Mark C. I told him to send a chat and say good things. Look at this. Chad is in my top 5 favorite Aggies. Mark, thank you. I don't know who else is on the list, but
good.
I don't really have a 2 through 5.
You don't have that list.
There's no number 1. Huh?
You don't have that one. All right. So Chance. No. Jason, anything else you guys have for Doc Hastings?
Look, I don't know that we need to warm Chad up anymore, but maybe if we do this, it'll lead to the Aggies losing the baseball championship, which would be great. All right, karma's got to reverse out. But I would say, Mr. Hastings, literally, I just before we started the show, I just told my mom in that room over there that the most surprising thing to me about doing this show was how good Chad is. I came into it and didn't know how good he was going to be. And as I'm a arguably 20-year professional in this business. And when I saw him work, I was like, oh man, he's really good. Chance, I said you were all right as well.
I think massive.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, can I say something, or is it?
As long as it's about me being good or cool. Actually, yes. No more. Just don't do what Chance did. Don't talk about me potty training or anything.
I'm not sure what Chance has led y'all to believe. And by the way, the Outsiders does a great job of talking about subjects. I know y'all are all dyed in the wool Longhorn fans and things like that, but I love y'all's discussions, and it really, you really communicate well and kid each other well, and I love all that. So you're a group that I wish Bo was here to hear this too. Chad and I were talking about the fact that here we are in a month or so. We're all going to be in the SEC, right? Together, yeah, we're all going to be in the SEC, and everybody is expecting us, and this is just my opinion. Everybody's expecting us to eventually turn into another, not just a return to the way it used to be back in the Southwest Conference and Big 12 days between the two schools, but it's going to be turning into another Iron Bowl situation between the two in-state schools. And then we can add that with Alabama's pair and Mississippi's pair, and they'll line up and play at the end of each season, all of which is great football. And I don't Don't argue with that at all. I mean, if that happens, that so be it. But we are a unique pair of schools, and we just talked about how big Kyle Field is and how big DKR is. In the 100,000 plus stadiums within 90 miles of each other. Within 90 miles of me, are you kidding me? There's no other place like that in the country. So what I'm suggesting, and remember, Chad and I are we're different Aggies, but we're also different about this thing about rivalries. Rivalries mean something different to me than it does to Chad. I grew up here in Cisco. I only had one friend who went to the University of Texas, and he didn't give a shit about sports, you know. So
language.
Oh, language. Oh, sorry, that's right. I thought this was the outside.
No, it is the outside. It's the outside, but your wife can see you.
Oh,
also, if you could work towards the point, we would.
Okay. My point.
He's been trying to make whatever this point is.
That's why he's the best, man.
He's been trying to make it to me for 3 days. I still don't know what it is, but he's getting there. We're getting there. Land the plane, baby. Come on.
Here's the point. Yes, we can compete each other in all the sports, and both of us agree football is the best sport in the world, and we love it and all this stuff. But why not, instead of living vicariously through our team beating the other team, why not we do some things and talk about the things we have in common and really make an impact on not only the SEC but the whole nation. And what I'm saying is whenever we're back together, are you guys going to return with the hex? Do the old hex ritual? You know, that was always part of the Thanksgiving game.
I think
and I'd like for us to do the bonfire.
The bonfire has to come back, and this is my opinion. And I'm a Longhorn, and rightfully I don't have a say. But look, that's what we talk about now. I think it is a disservice to the young people that passed away in 1999 that they don't continue to do it. I think those kids, it was a tragedy. It was a tragedy for everybody. It doesn't matter. To me, I hate Oklahoma. I'll tell you that. But we all have in our families Aggies and Longhorns. And you know what? A couple of times out of the year, we dislike each other and move on down the road. But some of my best friends and the people I love the most in this world are Aggies. Not so much with the Sooners. But that is something for me that I think it is so rich in the tradition of Texas and Texas A&M that I think the bonfire needs to come back. I think for the memory of those people that passed away during the collapse in 99, I think it's important for it to come back for those people, for those people's families. And I think for the state of Texas, the Hex Rally and the bonfire need to take place because those things were special. They were special. And, you know, I tell people all the time, the thing about A&M, I grew up a Texas Tech fan, but on Thanksgiving or later on the day after Thanksgiving, Turkey Day +1, it didn't matter if you were a Longhorn, an Aggie, a Baylor Bear, or a Texas Tech Red Raider, or an SMU Pony, or whatever. Everybody sat down at Thanksgiving and they took a side. You were Longhorns or you were with the Aggies, one way or the other, and that was good for football, and that's what I'm excited about.
Man, so
I agree. I agree.
Jason and maybe Jason and Chad, you guys ever do the Hex Rally thing?
Mm-hmm.
Jason, did you ever go?
I never went. I'm just a little too young for that. I know of it, obviously, and look, I would be very excited to get all of those things happening again. I'm not saying that I'm mad at Texas A&M for when they took their ball and went home 10 years ago or whenever it was. Because I honestly was like, that's fine. If you don't want to be around here, I don't care. But I think once we start doing it every year again, and if it should be on Thanksgiving, okay, the game should be on Thanksgiving night. And if they do that, there's going to be so much excitement around it. It's going to be unbelievable.
By the way, thanks to our guy Chris Bennett throwing in. He said I didn't realize this. A few weeks ago, they announced the bonfire would not be returning, and I assume that means on campus. They've had an off-campus bonfire since '03. I'm wondering if that would continue this year. Chris Bennett, thank you for that. How about this? Padilla, hot take. Aggies winning it all. Padilla, I will allow the misspelling and the disrespectful small a if you could be correct. I'm assuming Padilla's talking baseball right now. They're up 5-0 in the 8th inning trying to get to the championship series. I'm going to interpret that as a baseball conversation. That's what that is.
Here, let me ask you guys a couple other questions. First of all, I'm a physicist. I'm always coming up with all kinds of theories. My theory is, especially after this interlude, since we've been, since A&M went to the SEC, all these 10 or so years, that both schools go on without each other. And when we're back together, and we both have changed. Here's my thing. The demographics, the student bodies of both schools are so very much the same. There's no more farmers. There's no more T-SIPs. What's your response to that?
Jason, you amigo, you got this first.
Go ahead, Chance.
So I would say this. I would say when I first got to Texas, it was explained to me like this, and it made a lot of sense because, again, I grew up a Texas Tech fan. I wasn't A&M was more farmers and agriculture. Longhorns
back then, yes,
were more cattle ranchers, right? It was a whole different breed. The cattle rancher is the one that sips his whiskey at night and he's got the hands that are out there working, where the farmer's in the crop and he's doing the hard work. That has changed. I do feel like towards the end of the rivalry, it had gotten, because the Longhorns came up with the Longhorn Network, and there was some, and it got a little bitter, right? And families do, families have falling outs. And sometimes you take a break, and absence makes the heart grow fonder. And I do believe that when it comes back this year, being that it's in the SEC, being that we've had the 12 years apart, I think it is so welcome back by everybody, not just because look where every one of the sports are now. Aggie basketball, which has always sucked, is now picking itself up. Aggie baseball, which has traditionally been pretty good but hasn't kept up with Texas, is doing phenomenal things. Schlossnagle is a phenomenal coach. Aggie softball doing big things. Aggie football, their football team is going to be damn good this year. I think A&M needs to wrap their mind around. Their offense is not going to be great, but that defense is going to be hard as hell to score on. And so both programs have now, there's so much money involved now, and both are so good that I think it's going to create something very, very special. And I think the time off was actually pretty good. I hated that it was gone. I didn't think it needed to be. Again, I'm a true blood Texan through and through, and I think Thanksgiving should be having Thanksgiving dinner, and then we all sit around and watch the Aggies and the Longhorns play. That's what it should be, as a family together. And when it's done, we move on and we're still Texans together, unlike those damn Sooners north of the red. And but so that's what I think. I think I hated that they let the rivalry go. I'm glad that it's back. But I do think that little absence, I think, is going to make it so much better, because A&M was able to do some things over the last 12 years that being in the SEC helped them tremendously.
Absolutely.
And I think it's going to be good.
Yeah.
Jason?
One of the millions of ways that I'm a bad Texas fan is I was born here. I've literally never lived more than 20 minutes in any direction than I've ever been. And so I got to Texas like just going to school there, and I never thought of Aggies as farmers versus anything. I was just like, well, this is us, and everybody else is the enemy. And so that's kind of why I never bought into that part of it. But I think everything that Chance says is correct. And yeah, if the rivalry is great, it's so tremendous. I still remember, like, 15 years ago, I lived in a house across the street. Somebody just had a banner outside that said "House Divided" and was half Longhorn, half Aggie on it. They stole your stuff, Chad. And I just looked at the house and I was like, I don't know which side of the house to egg. So like, I've always like had a distaste and a belief in the rivalry. But it's just been gone long enough now that I'm like, I don't know. I hope that I hope that when it's back and it's happening all the time, that it becomes as big of a deal as it was.
Okay, that would be awesome. Hey, by the way, thanks to all of our great partners around here, including something I think Aggies and Longhorns can agree. We're trying to bring Doc Hastings trying to bring Longhorns and Aggies together. You know what Longhorns and Aggies can appreciate? Cool big old truck, Covert Ford. Let's go. All right, we have some good chats coming in, but I think you wanted to respond to Jason's comment there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jason, love the story about the dual sign. It reminded me back in the days of the Big 12. I never miss the Texas OU game, in Dallas. And I always see it, and somebody said, "Well, who are you rooting for?" And I said, "Well, I always are trying to figure out how both teams can lose." And damn it, it never happens that way.
There have been ties, but
Well, but see,
Even physicists can't figure that one out.
As a physicist, I can't figure that out.
All right, let's clean up some chats here. We'll go all the way back. Morgan throws something at Chris Bennett. Lou Holtz on the difficulties of potty training. This is the point. When it comes to the potty training, the problem is if you pee on something that has Notre Dame on it, then you just pee on God's team. That's what's the frustrating part of this. Because if you pee on the gold helmet, it's kind of gold on gold. That's what's just tough. That's what it is. Plus, in the middle of the night, if you dream about Notre Dame, get very excited, and then you just want to maybe go pee on yourself, and then it's just the problem is it's discipline. It's a discipline issue. You try to have the discipline, and I don't want to go to the bathroom by myself. But it's tough. I used to pee on myself all the time. When I was in Arkansas, I used to pee on myself every third down. I hate third down. You know that. And I would pee on myself all the time in Fayetteville. That was mainly because of Fayetteville. All right. Thank you for that, Morgan.
Chad, you didn't see it, but your dad went through basically every emotion of life while you were doing that. Okay, at first he was just very happy to see it, and then he was sort of confused, and then scared, and then happy again.
And I don't know how to say this, but he has a lot more voices than what he's showing y'all. I've been telling you, this is what I've been living with all my life, yet ever since he's gotten here.
Yeah, it is true.
He has a lot of voices.
Doc Hastings just went through a live version of the movie Inside Out, like with all.
That's true.
That is good. God. Mark C. I joined late. Is it a celebrity roast of Chad? Mark, it kind of turned into that, but a lot of it was nice things to be said. I couldn't really celebrity. I couldn't say much bad about it. Scotty B, what a great effing championship series. Vols versus Goat Herders. Let's go. Rocky Top. 5-0 Aggies, bottom of the 8th. It is not official yet, but it would be Tennessee and A&M. Guys, I want to get your thoughts on this. Chris Bennett says CDC's top 2 candidates would be playing in the national championship. Let me get y'all's thoughts on this from the Longhorn fan perspective. If CDC decides it's time to move on from David Pierce, would you guys be okay with whatever the plan would be? Make the winner say no first and then make the loser say no? Chance, I'll start with you. Is that okay with you?
There's a dirty rumor, and you know that I love David Pierce, a good friend of mine, but there's a dirty rumor out there that it's been floated that they're going to offer Sloss 10 years, $40 million to come to Texas.
Okay.
That's the rumor on the street. And that Vitello would be the second option, and he would be somewhere close to that. So I would say this, and this is going to, Doc Hastings, with all due respect, I have a lot of respect for you and your son, but I've got to say, if A&M finally wins a major men's sports national championship and Texas steals the head coach that year, that would be the biggest, funniest thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
You want a hell of a move? It'd be a hell of a move. I'll give you that.
It really would. And you know, from my point of view, not only do I never talk smack. I don't bet. I don't play, fantasy football or anything like that. It would be probably funny to me too.
That'd be a laugh so you keep from crying kind of funny is what that would be. Don't let him fool you there. Chris Bennett, it's a good comment. Also, somebody had a comment on Thanksgiving, gentlemen. We'll just get an updated thought from everybody. Chad says, as much as I would love the Texas A&M game to be on Thanksgiving, I don't see it happening because, the NFL has taken over all the time slots.
Well, look,
all of us here love both. So, Jason, let me start with you. What are your thoughts on that game now that we know it's back? You want it sticking around on Saturday? You want it to move? What's your updated thought on it?
I mean, now there's always a million games going, and we all have 8 TVs playing everything. Do we all have 8 TVs playing everything?
Yes.
But look, I would say that is Texas and Texas A&M's fault in that they always had a Dallas game and a Detroit game during the day on Thanksgiving, and then Texas and Texas A&M at night. And then when they moved that, the NFL was like, "Oh, okay, well here, they are buying up all the real estate they can get." And so, I think it was their fault that they left that vacant. And I would love to see it move back there. I guess I like it on Friday as well when it's like in more of an exclusive window. But just having it on Saturday at 2:30 or at 7 p.m., I don't like that.
Wow, God, he said it like he was about to throw up in his mouth. Chance, that's crazy.
I look at it like this. It drives me nuts sometimes because my Bills have had to play on Thanksgiving 3 of the last 4 years, and it annoys the hell out of me. But I think it's one of those things. You can have an 11 a.m. kickoff for the NFL, and then a noon kickoff, and then a 3:30 game, and then you can still have the Longhorn Aggie game at 7 o'clock that night. Like, let the NFL be the while we're eating our meals, and let the Aggie Longhorn game be after Uncle Joe's been drinking all day and happening. That to me, it works. Saturday, I don't like the Saturday thing. If it's going to be anything, put it in an exclusive window on Turkey Day +1. Put it in that 2:30, 3:30 slot on a Friday afternoon. Nobody's at work. Family is still together. But I still am a firm believer that they don't have enough pull to tell the NFL what to do. But A&M and Texas together and the SEC as a trio have enough pull to say, hey, NFL, play the noon game, your 3:30 game. Let us have the primetime exclusive. Let us have the primetime game. And it could probably work out, especially if both teams are as good as I think they could be over the next couple of years.
That'd be wild if the SEC could pull that kind of a power move. All right. So you're a season ticket holder. So you guys, every other year you'd be going to the game, alternate years, you're hanging out. Do you want Thanksgiving or what?
I guess we're pretty flexible about when we would go, because now that we're retired, we could go any one of those 3 days.
That must be nice.
And I know.
Okay.
Listen, guys, retirement's everything is cracked up to be. But
I know.
Okay, you got the Egg Bowl. Look at it, the SEC's point of view. You got the Egg Bowl. You got what are we going to call our bowl? Lone Star Bowl? Okay, let's call it that.
It's called House Divided. There's a show every day. I'm on the show. We named it House Divided because I'm an Aggie and Catch runs the Longhorn thing. It's there every day. You don't watch it.
Right. There is.
You didn't watch 25. You didn't listen to 25 years of radio, but you're religiously watching a show every day. It's at the top of the screen every day, and you can't. What are we going to call the game?
No.
Are we going to call it Farmer T-Ship? Huh?
No.
Jeez.
Okay. All right, Chad.
Please
all right.
continue.
All
I'm
right.
sorry.
We got the Egg Bowl. We got the House Divided, and we got the Iron Bowl. So why not every year, depending on, like to Chance's point earlier, depending on how those 6 teams are doing and how they match up, then the SEC schedules 1 on Friday, 2 on Saturday, or 2 on Friday and 1 on Saturday.
Yeah, I'd love that. That's what I want, guys. I want 1 Friday, 2 Saturday. Get it away from Thursday. Let the NFL have it. And by the way, Jason, it's a great point. I think you are right, because if we all look at when did the NFL take that night slot, it's around 2011. It is. I think it's somewhere in that time period. So I say get away from it. Also because I don't want it to get lost. That's my worry. I don't want it to get lost. If Chance is right and the NFL would back off, but Chance, the NFL's not going to stop putting like San Francisco and the Chargers or the Steelers and Ravens or something on that Thursday night. I think they dig that game.
Do you know who wants to get away from it? The NFL players. They don't like the Thursday night game as it is. Yeah. And now you're going to have 3 games on Turkey Day. So now you got 6 teams instead of 2. They don't like it. It creates a short week. It throws off timing, especially in the NFL. When you're now moving to an 18-week season, basically, like that's a long time. And the guys hate the Thursday night games. They got them going to London now. If you ask the players, they want to play on Sunday. Monday nights are fine, but Sunday or Monday night, that's it. The Thursday game, they hate it. Only reason they do it is for the fans and the money, the revenue that it generates. That's it.
Yeah.
Also, college football will be the NFL minor leagues in like 3 years, and so they can totally work out things together.
We talking about this portal stuff and everything. I think you're right, Jason. It's like that we're going to think about college football different from this point on. I guess it's an obvious point, but you're absolutely correct.
Speaking of thinking of things differently, when other people play golf, they think a little differently than what Jason Dick thinks when he plays golf. Jason, take him through a day at Star Ranch, would you please, and tell him about your thought process.
My thought is that I'm just out here to have a good time, guys, and that's what I do every week when I'm at the golf club at Star Ranch. 252 Golf, or you can scan the QR code there if you want to make a QR code. I love Star Ranch because it's fun. Okay. The layout is great. The holes are fun. And it's good for players of all abilities. Second straight week, I will mention my friend Chase, who last week at Star Ranch said to me, we were talking about our group improving. And he's like, we've all given up on you. You've given up on you. That's a lost cause. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's fine. But that's why I love Star Ranch, because it is great. If you're a terrific golfer like my friend Chase, nobody tell him that I said this. All right. You can make birdies. You can make eagles out at Star Ranch. But if you're not a great golfer, you're going to have a good time as well. And the course is always in great condition. The fairways, lush, greens run true all the time, which is amazing this time of year in Central Texas. If you look around, there's a lot of mess out there. But it's my favorite place to play. And if you're looking for a place to set up a tee time, the golf club at Star Ranch, scan the QR code or call 252 Golf.
There you have it.
He really said that to me. Okay. He said, we've given up on you. You've given up on you. I mean, he's basically right. I refuse to practice.
Jason, I don't know your friend Chase. It sounds like you are an excellent friend on the golf course and Chase is not. That's what it sounds like to me. I just don't
And I would say I'm an excellent friend everywhere, all the time, and most of my friends are not.
Fair enough. Okay, well there you go. That must be it. There you go. All right.
So just real quick, Chad.
Yes, sir.
Talking about golf, can I just point out how cool and how awesome Bryson DeChambeau was after his win? Like, he's hanging out with the fans. He comes rolling up on the Golf Channel as they're trying to replay his shot. It's dark outside. He comes up, drunkard and Cooter Brown, still holding the cup. And he's like, yeah, go ahead. No, you got to hit behind it a little bit. Like, it was phenomenal. I retweeted it. And, I mean, I love the guy. I do. I know that a lot of people don't, the Live Golf deal and everything else. I like him. I do. I like the way he analyzes the game. I think he takes a completely different approach, trying to keep his body at the same posture each time so he can maintain the same swing. The way that he freaking hacks the driver, to be able to swing that hard and control it is unbelievable to me. But I thought this weekend was awesome. I thought Rory, I felt bad for him, but then I didn't after the way he handled it. I thought it was chicken shit, but that's for another day.
Interesting. Oh, you thought him taking the time off and stuff, getting away from it was bad?
Oh.
I didn't like the fact that it no different than when Stephon Diggs doesn't take questions after a game. Look, you lost. We get it. You're on a dry run. I understand you missed 2 putts coming down the back 9. That sucks. You're a professional that's made a shit ton of money playing this game, and it's afforded you a life that most people will never understand. You can go take some questions from the media. That's the way.
I didn't realize he didn't do the media post.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, he just walked out. Which look, it's a pretty heartbreaking way to lose, especially when you've been losing majors for 10 years now. But I'll say on your point, Chance, about Bryson. I like him. I'm such a cynical dick. I'm like, he's been coached by a PR firm, okay? Because three years ago, he was such a goofball, and I was like, what is this guy doing out here? And now I agree. He's like adorable. I love him. And so yeah, like good for him. Congratulations to him.
Yeah, it was fun to watch last weekend. By the way, Hooked on the Horns, I'm sorry we missed your $5 super chat. Says Doc, I feel the same way when OU and A&M play each other. Yes, looking for both teams to lose at the same time. That's what I'll do every time those two play. I ask a Longhorn, well, what do you do when the Aggies and Sooners play? That does not happen this year, by the way. And I'm not heartbroken. Are you heartbroken that the Aggies aren't?
No, I can't say that I am. I can't say that I am. Thank you, Hooked on the Horns.
Yes, thank you for that. We appreciate those super chats. It'll go right to the front. Morgan with a little history for us, saying it happened with Dana X Bible after he won the national championship at A&M in 39 and then went to Texas. Is that true, Morgan? Did that happen? I'd have to go double check that history, but I'm going to take you at your word there, discussing the whole Schloss-Nagel thing. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Aggie's still trying to finish off Florida here and then get to the championship series. But
sorry to interrupt. Is it easier for Texas to get him if they lose?
I think so. Somebody in the chat earlier said, does the price tag go up if the Aggies win? I mean, it would have to, right?
I think
but it's basically just the decision of does he want to move to Austin and coach the Longhorns or does he not? Like it's a ridiculous amount of money no matter what.
That's true.
I think if they win it all, it helps Texas's chance because he can say, I gave you what you hired me to do, A&M. I delivered the package. You asked for a national championship. I gave it to you. Now I can walk away. I think there's unfinished business. If he doesn't win it all, I think there's unfinished business. I think it becomes a little more difficult. But if you win it, Texas is going to pay him whatever he wants. Him and CDC are friends. Like, let's be about it.
They are. Yeah.
I mean, that's just being full disclosure. You know, he didn't leave Tennessee. I mean, he didn't leave TCU because he thought A&M was a better job. He just thought it was a better opportunity at the time. Like, he's openly said that. It's not like he's a diehard Aggie, right? I mean, everybody talked about Mac, and they're like, Mac embodies Texas. Mac was a Florida State guy. He came from Eastern Tennessee. He coached at Oklahoma. Darrell Royal was an Oklahoma guy. Like, fans get so caught up in where coaches go where the opportunity is. And let's be realistic about it. Texas, nobody's been to the College World Series more than Texas, and it's not even close. I think the next most appearances at the College World Series is like 19 behind Texas. Like, it's something ridiculous like that. Chad, you're the stat guy, but you know, to have a chance to come in and CDC's telling you, we're going to give you the money to back it. We're going to give you the opportunity. We'll give you these NIL packages. We're going to improve the stadium, which they're already talking about. They do those kind of things. It's hard to turn a job like that down. I don't care who you are.
Yeah, we'll see what happens there. That's interesting. A couple other chats here that just to clean off.
For saying this, but right now, I will say, when you go to Bluebell Field, it's a better atmosphere baseball-wise than it is at the Dish right now. It just is.
Yeah, and again, we've talked about this on all the shows too. Schloss has talked about tearing some of the stuff down, building up a big stadium, 16,000 seat stadium.
Yeah, he wants to go 16,000.
All those dreams are out there, and he's talked about it. Does he then? I mean, you know, would it feel like a betrayal to the Aggie baseball crowd if it happened? And you see that smile on Jason Dick's face? That's the smile that would be on every Texas fan's face. Because
I would just love for them to be rebuilding it while he's coaching at Texas.
Right, exactly. Right. It would be absolutely unbelievable. Chris Bennett says CDC wants it on Thanksgiving. Trev Alberts doesn't. I'd never heard Trev Alberts' opinion on it. That is interesting. Trev obviously comes from a world where Friday was the day. when I was growing up, right? Nebraska, Oklahoma, Nebraska, later Colorado, Nebraska. That's what he would think of maybe. So that's kind of interesting. And then also Chris Bennett pointing out this year, Texas versus Aggie, same day as Michigan versus Ohio State. Chris Bennett, exactly is the way I would respond to that. I'll solve the whole problem for you. Egg Bowl on Friday. Michigan and Ohio State play at 11 a.m. on Saturday. Iron Bowl in the middle of the day, 2:30. And pick it, 6:37, whatever that slot is. Kick it in College Station. There, I fixed it. We're good.
It's pretty good.
That.
Night game. Full day to tailgate. Full weekend to go. Come on.
I don't care what day it is, if it's Friday, Saturday, or Thursday. It's got to be a night game, regardless. Like it has to be a night.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll be shocked, Chance, if it's not. We've seen some weird stuff already. If I was an Arkansas fan, I'd be pretty pissed. The Texas-Arkansas game's been locked at 11. Y'all should be thrilled at that, by the way. You should be dancing in the streets on that one. But yes, I agree with you. House Divided's got to be a night game. It's a 2:30 minimum. It's 2:30 or later. Got to make that a night kick. Absolutely. Let's see. Yeah, this is a good comparison. Obviously, it would be the Chris Beard situation again, just on a more epic level because it's the Aggies. Of course, Beard got to the title game and, came that close to winning everything. So the Aggies are trying to finish this off tonight. The comparison would be there. Championship series, even if they end up losing to Tennessee, it would be that it's comparable there. And then it would be an opinion of what do you consider a bigger thing, basketball or baseball. But it's a good point, Chad. Good comparison there. All right. Let's see. What is this one? Make it 11 a.m. on Friday when College Station, night game on Saturday, win in Austin. That just doesn't seem fair. I don't know why. Why would that be the idea? What? No. That does no. Rex, I don't think that's the way. I don't think that's the way that it's going to happen. All right. Before we close up, let's tell you a couple things here. Let's see if we can make you hungry with stuffed Cajun meat market. Yeah, I'm just gonna, since it's right across your square there, Jason. What do you love at stuffed Cajun meat market? Tell them.
Meat pie.
There it is. Meat pie, ladies and gentlemen. Stuffed Cajun meat market, crawfish, and all the good Cajun stuff. They got it for you. Scan that QR code. They're right up there in the Round Rock area on 620. Stuffed Cajun meat market. We appreciate all their great support. We also appreciate Colt in a poncho shirt. There he is. Poncho Outdoors. Jason's got one on. Look at Jason. Jason's rocking the poncho right there. There's here. There's Colt. And there's Jason. And there's Colt again. I'm wearing one of the poncho t-shirts. I sleep in them all the time because they're so comfortable. My mom was nice enough to wash it for me because I've been wearing it too much. But they're comfy. Try the t-shirts. PonchoOutdoors.com. We appreciate them for their support.
Those poncho shirts.
Yeah, you know he does. You want to see him in a poncho shirt? Here it is again.
Yeah,
Look at that.
There you go, right there.
In a poncho shirt, standing in front of a fountain that's way too big that he built out of way too many rocks. We couldn't stop him until he was done. I'm doing the tucked, the untucked. He's doing the tucked. Whatever you need. Long sleeve, short sleeve, maroon, the dark blue, which Chance made fun of earlier for me wearing. It was yesterday, Chance. It wasn't today. We just, we're trying to wear a shirt, and I got made fun of.
I said Doc Hastings is wearing the true Aggie colors. Mm-hmm. You're wearing the colors that A&M decided to wear on their opening night at the College World.
I kind of was. You're right. I was paying tribute to night one at the College World Series. I didn't even realize that. Yeah, you're right. I was. That is what I was doing.
And thanks to Specs. Thanks to Specs.
Oh, that's right. Good call. That's well done because I haven't played the Specs thing yet, and you just reminded me. Thanks to Specs, because when Doc Hastings wanted his fancy beer, I went to Specs to find out if they had it, and actually it had been discontinued, but they found me some discounted 6-packs. Always ask if you don't find what you're looking for at Specs. Lisa.
Specs same-day delivery can save the day with our Specs app or online shopping. From world-class wines to hard-to-find spirits and craft beers to gourmet foods, delicious snacks, and spectacular sweets. It's Specs. Cheers to savings.
Look at that. I can always count on Doc Hastings to remind me of Specs, one of his favorite places on earth. Morgan just throws out a meat pie. All right, here's one for you, boys. We haven't done a lot of hotter thans on the Outsiders. Super chat $5. Thank you, Tracy. Today is Zoe Saldana's birthday. Buy or sell Zoe Saldana is hotter than Gabrielle Union. That is fantastic. I'm gonna sell and take Gabrielle Union. Chance, what do you do? I'm a huge fan though, so I'm biased.
Both are gorgeous. I got to sell because Gabrielle's been a favorite for a long time, and it's hard to dethrone the queen.
Yeah, she's beautiful. Jason Dick, what do you do with that one?
Is this a house divided bit? Is this not canceled yet? How?
What do you mean it's not canceled yet? Oh no, you think it's an insensitive thing? See,
I'm barely sure who each of them are. Is Zoe Saldana the Guardians of the Galaxy one?
No, that's no.
I don't think so. Chance, who is Zoe Saldana? What do I know her from?
Yeah, we can't. I don't think we have time for you to figure out who Zoe Saldana is. It Zoe Saldana, okay. Catwoman, the last Catwoman, the Catwoman from the last Batman movie? Isn't that Zoe?
Yeah, the Nirvana Batman.
I think that's Zoe.
And Gabrielle Union was Dwayne Wade's wife.
Yeah,
correct.
Yeah, I will take Zoe.
Okay, going with Zoe. Going with a buy there. Thank you, Tracy, for that $5 super chat. We appreciate it. All right, let's see. There was something else. What else was I going to do? I was just going to scan here, make sure we didn't have any super chats. We appreciate it. Oh, I know what I was going to show you. We're going to show you real quick some Doc Hastings, little bit of a handiwork. You wanted to try to give the Aggies some good luck tonight, gentlemen. It's working. 6-0 in the top of the ninth. He thought he'd put something together with the logo on it, so he did this. Look at that. It's kind of large. I mean, it's a little bit big. What do you think of that?
Is that
It worked. It worked.
What'd you say?
You made that?
Yes. He did on 10. He put it on the side of a barn, and a tornado damn near blew the barn down, so he moved it into town.
That is fantastic.
How about that?
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Man. I can barely make 3 podcasts a month. Okay.
Oh my God.
About 2 away from 3 podcasts a week, Jason. So I need you to get mine right, okay?
All right.
There you go. By the way, I do feel bad. Morgan, if you are paying attention, I guess we didn't have an official, formal Dick Move of the Week. Jason Dick, do you have a formal Dick Move of the Week, or should I just play the little sounder and we move on? What do we do?
I mean, I have a nonsense thing as usual that I could do. But play the thing, and then we'll see how it goes.
Definitely do that. All right, we'll have a Dick Move of the Week, which means we've got to give you a little bear dick. Here we go. Bear dick. Rawr!
It's going to be all non-sports personal life things basically for the rest of the summer. Mm-hmm. I hope it's been okay, but I have Starlink internet, the Elon Musk internet, mm-hmm. which when it rains is kind of a mess. I hope that it's been okay. But I also, not a brag, just a fact, drive a Tesla. A decision I made when I was a much more employed young man. But the Tesla, and maybe this is true of other cars, it doesn't have a key, okay? It only has a key fob, and you get in the car, and if you're in the car, you can start it and whatever. And the key finally died on me 2 weeks ago, but you can still open it with the app on your phone. And so that's how I've been driving around, is I use the app to open the door and start the car and drive and all of those things. It's a real pain in the ass. And yesterday I was at the grocery store and I got a cart full of groceries and I realized my phone has 1% on it. And I was like, I have to go. Okay. And so I just abandoned this cart of groceries because I was like, if I don't make it out to the car in time before my phone dies, which that's as most dick moves are, it's often my fault. What am I doing letting my phone get down to 1%? I don't know. It's just a problem that I have. But yeah, my phone was at 1%, so I just gave up on my grocery run and ran out to the car so that I could open the door and start it before my phone died. So I will just say, Elon Musk, dick move, man. Make your cars with a key, okay? I just want a key. All right. Maybe I'm old school. All right. Mr. Hastings, you ever had a car without a key? All right.
No, I can't say that I have.
Yeah, cars all have a key. Well, like just to make my car with a key.
Wow.
1% of the population that wants a key is on the outsiders.
I was going to say that was a first world problem story about a 1% phone problem. There was a lot going on in that story. So you did ultimately make it, though. You made it back.
I made it to the car. I went home. My phone immediately died on the way home. Went home, charged my phone because that's the only way that I can get into. By the way, on this same grocery trip, I went to the battery aisle and was trying to find the key for the fob, and they don't have it. Okay, there's like there's a million of those little watch batteries. They didn't have it, and so I was just like, oh yeah, we'll be fine. And then all of a sudden, I was like, oh, we're running out of juice here. So I had to come home, charge my phone, and then go back to the grocery and buy all my groceries. But congratulations to whoever might have picked up my card at HEB yesterday. That was some good stuff in there. Okay, good stuff.
Hey, Jason, you can get those little coin batteries at Harbor Freight or Northern Tool.
Oh wow!
Big packages of them.
My man's helping out. All right, let me help out too. Thank you to Chris Bennett and others. We got a clarification for you, Jason, and I want to make sure you get this right, and let's make sure everybody understands. Zoe Saldana is Gamora in Guardians.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay, so
it's Lenny Kravitz's daughter who's in the Batman movie, right?
Thank you. I mixed that up. I mixed up my Zoes. Zoe Saldana is Gamora. Zoe Kravitz is Catwoman. So Saldana hotter than Gabrielle Union. Are you still buying that?
I'm gonna stick all Zoes. I'm Team Zoe. Okay,
Team Zoe.
So regardless of the change, I'm Team Zoe.
Chance and I are the old men going with Gabrielle Union. Right. Do you know who those two people are enough to know?
No, don't ask me. Don't ask me.
Okay, that's right. Plus his wife's in the room.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to do that.
Your mom's right over there.
We don't. Yeah. Let's not be that. We want to do that one. And yes, to Chris Bennett, Zoe Kravitz, and Anne Hathaway, the last two Catwomen. Anyway, all right. There you go. All right, boys. Anything else do you have tonight, either for Doc Hastings or the people, or both?
I did want to say, Mr. Hastings, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on here today. It was super duper fun. But since we're talking about parents, and I told you how I was talking to my mom right before I started doing this, and I was telling her what a crush I have on Chad. She did ask me, because I was like, I have to go prepare for the show. And she's like, oh, how do you think the Longhorns are going to do in the NFC? And I was like, well, you know, I don't like a lot of the teams in the NFC, but I'm pretty sure they would fail. Okay.
They would not do very well in the NFC.
I'm pretty sure they would not be great.
That's good. I like that. It's good.
That's a good mom question. That's a good one like that. When you get that, that's a good stereo. So your mom is, did she just slip up, or is she just not a sports fan?
Well, she's clearly not as informed as Mr. Hastings here, but yeah, she makes dummy errors like that every day. So I have no idea. I don't know if she knew it was the SEC and just said the wrong thing. But
that's pretty good.
That is fantastic.
I like that. It's good.
Well, gentlemen, I appreciate the show as always. Chance, I specifically appreciate the fact that you enjoyed your time at Kyle Field. And we'll see what it looks like when Texas ends up there in November.
Hey, I had a great time. I had a great date. Couldn't have been any better of a weekend. I don't know what else I could have done.
Nah. George, what was the best George Strait song live for you? What was the George Strait song that really got to you?
There's one acceptable answer.
I mean, there's a lot of great George Strait songs. What was the one you wanted to hear and heard and you got emotional? What was it?
Troubadour.
Troubadour?
Yeah.
That's a very that is fantastic. He bailed.
Hey, that was it. They were off. He was gone.
I like
that. That song is from like 2004. Okay.
Yeah.
George Strait was, I mean, I don't want to say over, but basically over by 1997. Okay.
Wow, listen to this. Listen to this smack talk.
The 101 X guy is going to tell me.
That's right.
Strait is over.
That's right.
He already said he was Team Garth. Now he's really leaning in. He's attacking now.
Troubadour is a fine song, but it's like the 14th best George song. Amarillo by Morning is the answer. Okay.
By Morning was
The end.
Amarillo by my morning is awesome, especially when he talks about losing his saddle in Houston. That is a beautiful part of that song. But I've got to say, Troubadour spoke to me because I don't know. It was from the moment it came. Now, Stars on the Water is most people, it's a very underrated song because for somebody like me that loves being down on Galveston, it's really about the Gulf of Mexico and the stars on the water. It's awesome. So I love that one as well. I didn't hear Clear Blue Sky because he did it in the encore, and I had bailed by that time. Don't tell anybody. But
Chance. You're leaving a George Strait show before it's over?
It was midnight, and he was still going.
It was George Strait. Who cares if it's 2 a.m? It's still George Strait.
Yeah. There's
Come on.
I had a smoking hot date that was really craving a taquito from Whataburger. We'll just
Hey, God love her for that. I mean, that's you can't say no to a Whataburger taquito late at night.
That's right.
Very good call. Very good call. All right. You know what? I'm just going to throw this chat up at the end because it'll make me feel good. Don't get to catch the shows live often, but as far as Aggies go, Chad is A-OK. Thank you, David. I appreciate it. All right. Here's one for you. Mark says, I can still make Cheyenne was mine when I saw him in Austin.
Yeah.
It's a nice
basically
song.
that entire record, Carrying Your Love With Me, Blue Clear Sky, Check Yes or No, all of those better answers than Troubadour.
Chance, I was a little surprised to hear him. I saw little bits and pieces of people's. No, you're the one that sent it. I think where he was playing Poncho and Lefty. Is that something George does often?
I don't know if he does it often, but I will say, and for my Longhorn brethren out there and sisters, I did when he said, Willie Nelson, 91 years old, I'm about to sing this song. I threw up the biggest hook 'em in the middle of Kyle Field, and I screamed my head off, and I didn't give a damn who was around me.
There you go. There it is. That's cool.
You bring up Willie Nelson, we got to throw up the hook 'em horns. You got to.
Dude, that's a great kind of cross-country moment there. George Strait going after Poncho and Lefty. There's so much history in just that idea. That's very, very cool.
Several Merle songs, too. He did. He played for 3.5 hours.
That's awesome. That is awesome. How George Strait, what do you say, he was 72?
He's 72.
He's 72, and he played longer than Taylor Swift does on the Eras Tour.
Yeah.
What is happening? What is going on?
He's going to be an old troubadour when he's done.
Yeah. I'm not.
I love that he stormed off when you said troubadour. That's my. I think it was my favorite part of the show. There's been a lot of good parts of the show, but I think that was it.
That's
All
my
right.
favorite George Strait song, and I cannot tell you why. It's just for one reason. From the moment I heard that song, it was my favorite.
Yeah, Jason, the heart wants what the heart wants.
It's good. It's all of his stuff is good, and I'm just a damaged person who I have no connection to any song that came out after 1999. So
yeah, it's terrible. By the way,
Limp Bizkit's break stuff ended it for me.
Another last minute hi to Chance's ceiling fan. Let's just see Chance's ceiling fan. There he is. There he is back there. What's up, Chance's ceiling fan? Have a great weekend. Have a good rest of your week, Chance's ceiling fan. Thank you, Mr. Bennett, for that. Oh, look at this. We hung around long enough for another super chat. $5 hooked on the horns. Chad and Doc are the two most likable Aggies I've ever seen. How about that?
Whoa.
To be fair, we have no idea how many Aggies he's seen.
That's true. He may have only seen. Yeah.
I didn't ever realize, I didn't think of it, but this is probably the only episode of The Outsiders ever where we're going to be, even numbered. Okay. With Bo not here. Two Aggies, like that's never going to happen again. Right.
That's true. It's a unique. Yeah.
Y'all will make sure that never happens again.
Oh my God. Okay. Wait a minute. Hold on. Chance, you left early and Rex says George played Tom Petty. Huh? Rex, I'm staying around long enough for you to tell me what Tom Petty song he played. Please tell me. Are you kidding? By the way, look at this. Let me give you a Life is a Rich Tapestry moment. Chance Mock, your mother just informed me that A&M won the game. I didn't know that.
Wow.
How about that? I mean, volleyball clap. Yes. Hey, Chad, how'd you find out the Aggie baseball team got to the championship series in 24? Chance Mock's mom told me. Cool. Mambo number 5 told me.
That's right.
Come on. That is awesome. You wrecked me.
That's nuts. I can't believe it. I cannot believe that.
Oh, I'd have lost my mind. Good for you, King George. George Strait at 72 went 3.5 hours, messed around with a little Merle. He hit a little poncho and lefty, and then just for the hell of it, he played a Tom Petty tune, like a rockin' Tom Petty tune in the encore.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Good for him. Thank you, Rex. That is awesome. All right, I like this one too. Hooked on the horns. Grew up around a lot of Aggies, so there's a large group.
Chad,
We're the 2 most likable in a large group. Thank you,
Oh,
Hooked
wow.
on the Horns.
Wow. Yeah.
if we
Thank
take
you.
this
Very,
show
very
any longer, Chance is going to have to leave early. Okay.
Yeah.
His girl needs a taquito.
Yeah, you're probably right. We're almost to taquito time at Whataburger. Let's not do that. All right. Thank you for liking and subscribing and getting your notifications to Orange Bloods Live. Another shout out to Bo and his lovely wife in Mexico. Remember, Engage Vacations. Check them out for all your travel plans. We hope they are having a great time. And thanks to damn near 570 folks that are in the Specs chat as we get ready to close the door. Thanks to Specs for bringing us the chat. Hopefully, Bo will be back next week from Mexico, and we will.
If they find out who he is, I don't know if he gets back into America.
Right, exactly. We just make sure. Hopefully, he's back in the country and he can talk to us next Wednesday night. Also, remember, big recruiting weekend is coming up. The June 21st day has been talked about for a while. Here's another QR code for you. orangebloods.com. Go check out all the great articles. Jason Sukamel's got an article up. There's breakdown articles on all the guys that are coming in to visit. If you love your offensive lineman, his name is Michael Fasusi, and he's leading a hell of a group into Austin this weekend. And orangebloods.com's got it all for you. We got shows on Orange Bloods Live to round out the week as well for you. So thanks to everybody for jumping in the chat, from Chris Bennett to all the to Morgan, to all the people that were in there tonight, giving us some great stuff. Rex, and to Hooked on the Horns, who thinks my dad and I are cool Aggies. I mean, that's
well,
cool
I want to say thank you, Outsiders, for having me on tonight. I really have enjoyed it. Thank you.
Yeah, not a problem. Did you drink your whole beer?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
There you go. I drank my whole beer. Chance, did you drink all the vodka yet?
I drank all of it.
He's working on it. Jason, did you drink all of the voltage?
It's probably a 2-day project, the voltage. Okay.
That's only half voltage right there. All right, everybody take care of yourself. We'll be back next Wednesday at 8:30 for another edition of The Outsiders. Until then, we are The Outsiders. That's Doc Hastings. He is way beyond legitimately worth a shit. We are just legitimately